Hey everyone, Jeff here, and as a thank you for listening to my show, I'd love to offer you a gift completely free. I have a full PDF with tactics and insights for how I built amazing relationships that have skyrocketed my personal success. If this sounds like something you're looking for, all you have to do is click the link in the show notes below. Now, on to the show. Welcome back to the Jeff Fenster Show for another segment of Lessons Learned, where today we're going to recap the top 9 takeaways from Anthony Trucks on doing the dark work. Number 1, people don't start ugly.
We all have this connection. We identify with the outcome as opposed to identify with the actions. So when I identify with the outcome, I will consistently have a comparison where I fall short and I suck at something. So most people just don't start ugly because they're worried about being embarrassed. There's actually this, in my identity work, there's a framework we structure, the different types of identities. And there's a dreamer who dreams all day, doesn't take an action. There's a person that's a dabbler, tries a bunch of stuff. The moment something happens that's difficult, they can't push over it. They make a good excuse to evade it and go find some new shiny object. Then you have the defender, which we're talking about now. The defender is someone that's had so much success in some area. There's a fear around trying something new that will chip away at the past success. And so I think for me, I don't mind looking stupid. I've had success, but I go, yeah, I'm going to do my thing. And the way I can do this is I have an anchored sense of self. I know what I can do. I know who I am. I don't worry about the world giving me a bunch of like high fives or, because I think Deion Sanders said something recently. He's like, I don't care what you care about me. He says, because if I give you the control to help me feel good, you could make me feel bad too. You don't get to have that control. I go, that's how I've lived my life. I didn't think about it, right?
Prime
for
time.
me, what allows me to be great is I go, there's a new thing I want to try. I have no idea how to do it. Let's figure it out. Yeah. People go, how do you just try these new things and jump? I go, why not, man? Life's supposed to be opened up. And so that paired with my desire to be great and give my all when I show up to something, it seems to work out. But I think there's a part of me that initially goes, success is always going to be the next level of success in the direction of something I don't know how to do right now. Mm-hmm. I never tried before. And if I'm too worried about how stupid I might look or how I may lose face in it, then I don't try it. So I miss out on the next opportunity. I'm defending my success. Like an undefeated boxer won't take a match because what if I lose the match, right?
Sure.
No, I'll get better, right? So I lean in and do that. And that's allowed me to try things that let me express my skill sets in areas I didn't know I could have success. And I go, man, imagine if I didn't try this. I would have missed out on this. So I have success in this area that leads me to a new thing and a new thing and a new thing.
Number 2, hard pays well.
I just do hard stuff, man. Mm-hmm. And I think there is something, we were talking about before I walked in here, there is something in our world now where there's a desire to appease the weaker part of us. It'd be easy, it should be simple, I go, what if we just do something because it's hard though? Because there's something like, I love the idea, people say, well, the first rule of CrossFit is talk about CrossFit, right? And I go, it's funny as a joke, right? But the reality is there's something tucked in there people don't notice, which is, yes, talk about CrossFit. Why do they do it? They do it because it's incredibly hard.
Yes.
Which means I get very proud of myself because I did the Murph, right? It's so hard. And you talk about it because you're proud of the hard thing you did. And I think we miss out on that. And so for me, I do things that are hard or they feel like they're going to be hard, sometimes just for the purpose of feeling good about myself. Mm-hmm. But I also know that if it was hard for me, it was hard for somebody else. And those who turned away from the hard don't get to access the next door of success.
Well, and Andy Frisella talks about that, and he uses it more monetarily, but he says hard pays well. You want to make it, and you want to make money, hard pays well.
I like that.
And I look at it as when you look at the easy, everyone can do it.
Yeah.
So that's the definition of average.
Yeah.
And we move average, the barometer for average goes up and down, right? Mm-hmm. Because today, an average marathon runner is a lot faster than it was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So the average moves up to what the majority can accomplish.
True.
Hard is what distinguishes greatness, excellence. Mm-hmm. If you really want that, you've got to choose hard.
You have to.
And it's the foe, it's the enemy. In every great hero story, there's a battle.
Number 3, now is always a beginning.
Now is always a new beginning. That's it. And it's like if you look at it that way, the day's a new beginning, the new start. It's like, okay, new beginning. What would you do if you had a fresh, clean slate? Mm-hmm. Right? Do that thing. And so it is an aspect where, like I said, sometimes you just do it because it's hard. Or sometimes you do it because you want what's in the backside or because it's just how you show up. But there is this, I think people have this weird, like an allure of like success it's a special thing that maybe I can get and I don't know. And I go, the only difference between most of the people you see and yourself is just how they show up in the actions that I call defining moments of the day. It's a small one. Like it could be a single thing. So I look at it, the new year. I love when I get the new year. I hate to say this often, but the new year people go, "You're gonna go big this year, Ant?" I go, no, I'm not going big. They go, what are you going to do? I'm going to go small. What do you mean? I'm going to go small, but in a really big way. If I can go small, the singular thing that you won't do for the next 6 months, I'm going to go small, but I'm going to do it. Something small, I'm going to take off. You can't touch me. And I look at even from a neurological level, there's certain levels where our brain just can't work, right? I can get about a good 4 to 5 hours of solid focused work, and I've built that muscle over time. The average person, based on an Inc. magazine study, in an 8-hour day can get 2 hours and 57 minutes of focused work. And it's not just because they're distracted, but a lot of it's because their brain can't do it. So I go, okay, great, let's say you get 3 hours, but I can get 6 in a day. At the end of a year, if I could stay focused, let's say you worked that for 2 or 3 days, because most people don't do solid days like that, 2 or 3 days. At the back end of a year, I will have 2 to 3 more years of progress on yours. You can't catch me.
That's right.
And it's not because I'm running faster. I just didn't stop running.
Number 4, the difference between settled and content.
It's a difference between being like settled and content. So content is a thing where like, I'm done. I'm content, right? But I'm not settled. That's what I'm hearing. I am the same as you. And I found this out with, she's like, well, you're not happy with our life and a marriage? And I'm like, no, I love it all. I love it all. But 5 years ago, I didn't know this level of good existed. So what level of good do we not know exists beyond this? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean I don't love this, but humans are happiest in motion. It's simple logic. If we put a puzzle right here and me and you were doing the puzzle, when the last piece goes in, what do?
Look at it and break it.
And go, oh, what do we do? It's done, right? But the puzzle making was the fun part. We are happiest in motion. And so I go, love, I'm just going to stay in motion. I'm going to love everything. I'm going to be happier in the motion. Doesn't mean I'm not content. Doesn't mean I don't love. I'm just not completely at a space where like, this is enough for me. And it's not to say that this is enough to be happy, because I'm incredibly happy. But I believe that we all have something we're supposed to be here to do. And we won't know what it is until we've done it. And maybe we never get there. Maybe the idea is just to be in flow. But if a person comes and goes, hey, I'm having this battle, I go, well, first off, stop listening to the people who play smaller than you,
yep.
Right? Because there's a lot of people that will give you that. When's it going to be enough? Aren't you settled? And I go, that logic isn't how my life operates, so I can't operate off your logic. So I'm going to, not that I don't respect you, I'm going to put your logic to the side for a moment, and I'm going to listen to my logic of where I'm at. Am I happy? Yeah. Am I healthy? Yeah. My marriage good? Yeah. Are my kids happy? Good. Do my kids know me? Yes. Am I serving people at a high level? Yes. What's wrong with keeping that momentum? Why not keep the puzzle pieces going? Now, if one of these things was off, I go, okay, cool. The way I'm doing this needs some adjusting. So that may be a thing of like, okay, yeah, I see you going, but are you leaving something behind while you move? If that's the thing, that's a different conversation. But the simple idea of I want something more, that there's nothing wrong with this. I think that we should seek and do that. That's how we have things that make your desire to have more, to give more, is why I'm here right now. What's wrong with that? If your wife's happy, kids happy, right? Mm-hmm. There's peace. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But how you do it could be a thing that we could question. But I don't think the idea of questioning your desire to do more is an issue.
Number 5, if the dream doesn't require other people, it's not big enough.
But there's a separation between types of doers. And there's 5 of them I've found. The way I look at it is what's called the walker. And it's all based on traffic and travel. Let's say I go from California to Florida, right? We're here in San Diego. We're going to go out to Florida. If we wanted to get there fast we can, well, what do? Well, some people are going to walk. Self-made. I don't need anybody's help. T.D. Jakes said something recently. I love it. And he says, if your dream if your dream doesn't require other people's help, it's not big enough. I go, I like one.
That too.
That's right. It's a good one.
I laugh at self-made.
Ooh, it's a good one, dude.
It is.
So
say it again.
TD it's not mine. TD Jakes said it. He says, if the dream doesn't require other people, it's not big enough. So you got
that hits.
It's big.
It hits.
So I go, okay, cool. So the first person's self-made. So if they're going to go from California to Florida, they're going to walk. They're probably going to have busted feet and take forever. I don't need anybody's help. Leave me alone. I got this on my own, right? And this person will take forever to get there if they get there at all.
Yep.
Self-powered. They have a person that goes, I'm gonna invest in a bike. Small investment. I'm gonna ride a little fast. So they might read a book. They might watch some articles or something. They might figure some things out, but they're not going to talk to anybody else still. Still self-powered, but they're going a little bit faster. But still, takes forever. If you want to ride a bike from California to Florida, takes a while. The next person makes a bigger investment. These are called drivers. That's not self-powered anymore. This is the person that goes and says, I'm maybe going to read a book, go to a seminar. I might invest in a course or some program, right? So I'm going to go. But there's still, on the way there's detours. There's roadblocks or different roads you have to go. You can't go straight shot. Then you have the third person, who is a pilot. Now, look at the investment, right? To invest in a bike's one thing. Invest in a car's another thing. Invest in a pilot's license. It's like 20 grand in 60 hours to get a pilot's license. I'm trying to get one so I know.
Are you?
Yeah, why not?
Well, we're gonna
fly
talk about
around,
that.
right? My wife won't get in the plane with me, she said, but I'm gonna trick her. I'm gonna blindfold her like, let's go. No, I won't do that. But the idea is like even getting a plane, right? But the investment's like I'm hiring a coach. I'm making an investment in my future. I'm sure you've made some investments like it's got to pan out. Hoping you make those investments, but that's how you actually get to the next level. Now what happens is you bypass the roadblocks. You get to fly over it, right? So I'm going from California to Florida. You get there faster. And that's getting insight from other people or just investing in newer insights. The fifth one is the one that's different. This is the one where most people go, I'm a doer, and they think that they're comfortable. Great. I'm a pilot. Cool. Great. But there's another level. These are the Elon Musk. This is the Steve Jobs. They were what's called astronauts. While me and you are going to Florida, they see something in South Africa. They see something in Australia. They see something vastly different. And they have the ability to invest in the time to be an astronaut, invest in a rocket ship. Literally, invest in a rocket, you know what I'm saying? They fly above it and they see so much more, but it's all based on the investment they put in over time. And so most people don't identify with making the investment, getting the help, adding the team, and taking that next step. And so when people step back and go, I'm a doer, right? Cool. Which one are you?
Yeah.
Genuinely, which one are you? Because until you understand which one you are, you can sit and feel really good and comfortable in the place you have success based on who you see around you or who's close to you in proximity. Where I go, Harvey McKay said this, and I love it. He says the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. And I go, okay, cool. Like, what's the next room? So you ask, like, how I look at my way back. How'd you know the next dream or goal? I go, what's the next room? What's the next step for me? So my brain's always been in that space, and I love that he could solidify the statement in that little clear space.
Hey everyone, just wanted to take a second to say how incredibly grateful we are for all of our listeners, and I want to hear from you. Your feedback is greatly appreciated, and it will only help us make this show better for you. So any questions you have, click the link in the show notes below and let us know. Now, back to the episode. Number 6, coaches can see the field when you can't.
What it was this thought of like, I'm so good, I don't need a coach. Coach for, and I go, wait. I played in the NFL. Highest level in the world you can play for a sport, and I had a coach because while I could see you in front of me, he could see the field. I could pay attention to one thing, but they noticed it. And so like sometimes the coaches are the ones that really guide the best athletes to the next level or to what they get it. So you can direct that amazing energy. And so coaches can see things you can't. So it's a huge piece of the whole process. So I did the same thing, man. I don't want to pay dummy tax. I invest in things before I think I'm ready to, but when I see someone, I go, I want to be in the direction they're in. I want to go in that level. Then I go, okay, cool. What do I not know I need to know? And that's where I go and access it.
And the other thing I hear a lot of is I don't hire a coach because the coach can't do what I can do. And I try to remind them,
So
Phil
stupid.
Jackson couldn't dunk a basketball like Kobe or Jordan.
Yeah.
Didn't
dumb.
need to.
It's
dumb.
And I think also, I heard a story, I don't know who, it's a woman I had in a podcast, tells me a story about this guy that he's walking up, so he's trying to get to some corner market right in the back, backwoods somewhere. And he walks to this house, there's a farmer in a rocking chair and a dog sitting next to him. And he walks up to the farmer. Hey, farmer, how do I get to the grocery store? And he's rocking. Well, you're going to, here's this noise. And he goes, what's that? He just, couldn't see it again, didn't hear it. And so going to go down the street here, make a left. He goes, sir, what's that noise? Oh, it's the dog. What's wrong with the dog? Him sitting on a nail. Why doesn't he move? Doesn't hurt bad enough. I go, interesting, right? Because a lot of people are sitting at walking stage and go, it's okay. It doesn't hurt bad enough.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable. I want to get there. It doesn't hurt bad enough. And so until it hurts bad enough, whether it's a framing and like stop it and going, oh, this isn't good enough, or something really happens, that's when we change. We change either on demand or when crap hits the fan. 99% of people is when crap hits the fan. I got to figure it out. Then you do. What if you just did it intentionally?
Yep.
And so most people just don't. They just sit there and it's okay, and they surround themselves with people that make them feel good, and they don't realize that there's another level for themselves. And I actually have this mentality I operate with, which is actually what I just did on stage a minute ago, and I genuinely think about this. And I go, there's going to be a moment in time when I'm sitting on my deathbed, and I have people picture themselves at the end of their lives. They're sitting there, and there's somebody sitting next to them, holding their hand, telling them an amazing story. It's you, but not you, right? It's a person that is like, if they live the most joyous, risk out, do whatever life that you can imagine. They're telling you this amazing story of the loves you had, and the trips you took, and the impact you made, and all this stuff, and your heart's beating. You love the idea of like, oh, right? And all of a sudden you go, oh, but it's not my story. It's what it could have been. So I tell people a quote that says, the last person you should meet in your deathbed is the person you could have been. So for me, that's my pain. That's the thing, is like, I don't want to get to the back end of my days and my God come in and go, son, I gave you all these skills and these tools, man. Why didn't you use them?
Yeah.
Right. So for me, that's the thing that keeps me moving. So I go, no, okay, I can't get to the back end and have any part of me go, I've left something on the table. There's something left. So I want to leave the life empty. And so I do things that look stupid to some people. Like my buddy Jay's like, bro, what are you stupid? Why would you do? I wanted to try it out.
Yep.
Like figure it all. And so because of that, I think that's what allows me to push in certain areas. But most people, they get content and complacent, and it's not hard enough. It doesn't hurt them bad enough.
Number 7, the shift method.
There's a way that I look at the first part of identity, and I go, you have to see, shift, and sustain. This is the first part of like what I call the shift method. So think of it kind of like there's a vehicle and an engine, right? The vehicle is this identity frame, and I'm going to give you see, shift, sustain. The engine is dark work. So the first 3, we'll call it for the vehicle, the body of it, right? The first thing you have to see, which means you have to take a look at yourself in areas that you don't want to see because you might not be happy with what you find out. I used to tell people, well, I even tell people, but I've told a lot of people, for me, when I look back at my old aunt, who I used to be, there's a moment in time where I couldn't be alone. I distracted myself with drinking and partying, hanging out, women when I was separate. I divorced my wife. And I found it was because when I was alone, I didn't like who I was alone with. It had this interesting thing, and I go, man, I can't be by myself. I got to be calling people all the time. So why am I doing this? And so I learned to just tuck people away because I didn't see myself. It was one of my best friends. Like he pulled me to the side when I was doing my thing. He's like, dude, this isn't who you are. There's a guy named Tim Murphy has a statement. I think it's Tim or Tom. He says, it's hard to see the label when you're inside the jar. I go, that's true, man, because all of us got these things functioning and operating, and I'm like, I don't notice myself. Therefore, I don't see what's going on. And when somebody shows it to you, it's like, oh, I didn't want to hear that, but that's the truth, you know? And so like I saw myself and I go, I don't like the man I am. This is not something my daughter should ever be with a man like me. My boy shouldn't, emulate me in any way. Something has to change. And so I was like, I got to make some shifts. And those shifts are the things that are difficult, but a shift in trajectory, I think Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about, if you make 1 degree difference in a shift of an angle, you end up, across the country, 40 miles somewhere else. So one single shift's all you need. Not a whole change at first, but a single shift. But those shifts lead you to new forks in the road that create new shifts, and you become somebody different in time. And the last part's to sustain it. A lot of us will try something, and we're met with the fact that we suck at it. That's just the reality of almost everything. Yep. Because I don't mind looking stupid. I go, let's keep looking stupid, right? I identify with the outcome. So the efforts, not the outcome. So if I can go, okay, I'm going to try this thing, and when I do it, I'm going to try it. I know it's going to suck. It's going to be a 10 of 10 of pain. But you know what? I'm going to learn something. So next time it's a 9. Most people go, what are you, masochistic? It was a 10. You suck. Why are you doing that again? I'm going to try it. I got to try it. You do it again. It's a 9. You idiot. It's 9. You still look stupid. Why are you, stop being a comic. Why are you standing up? You bomb every time on stage, right? I'd be about to learn something. I did something. I learned something. Come and do it again. It's an 8. It's, dude, stop, You keep going. Eventually you do 6 and 5 and 4. Get to a 0. And most people assume 0 is painless. It's not. It's joy. Because I know what it took to go from 10 to 0. Like, you know what I did, and right? It's like Kevin Hart. I love the story of him of like bombing and building. And now he's, what I'm saying? It's joy to see him do what he does. And I go, it's cool to watch that journey.
Number 8, the engine behind the shift.
How do I do the shift portion? This is going to be the engine of it, right? I find there's 3 things. You have to, 1, respect the light. The light being the destination, the place you want to go. You have to respect a few things in it, but I got to heavily respect what this vision is. I got to clarify it. I got to know what it is. I can't be gray in what it is. It's got to be an address, not a city. Here's what I want. This is what it looks like. So I got to have a clear vision of almost touch it, taste it. This room, I'm sure you knew what it looked like in your head before it got built. Like and when you walked in, it's like, yes, what it was, I've done this. And so I got to have this clear vision, but I'm respecting what that thing is. Then I got to respect who's done it before. Some people get to situations seeing somebody do something, and there's an immediate envy that pops in and goes, oh, I want, and you don't even notice it. What it comes out as, oh, they're not that great. That person, they could have done that. I could do it, You start poking holes. And what happens is we don't respect, and respect means to have admiration for. When I don't admire this, I don't learn from this. I don't care how that person got there. They got there. Respect that they got there and listen to what they did. You may not like it or do it yourself, but if you don't respect that, you don't find out what they did to get there. So you can spin your wheels for years, never realize it. And all because you want to chop Jeff down instead of going, man, Jeff, respect, man. How'd you do it? Right now, ask genuinely. But that respect helps. Then once you do know, respect the gravity of it. is heavy. Like those visions are heavy. And most people, they'll try it without knowing the gravity, get a step in and go, oh, I can't hold this. And then and they find great excuses to back out of it. But if you sit and breathe it in and go, okay, I see what this is. Like, I understand what it's going to be. Now I've prepared my mind for the inevitable hardship that comes. The first step, respect the light. The second step of the dark work is, I call it do the dark work, but there's steps to that too. One is you must design your dark. A lot of individuals go, and I'm going to go get this done. And we try to stay disciplined to the emotion of it. I can't wait to get it. I know it's going to take, I'm motivated, right? You go, cool. All right. What about the day you wake up and you're not? Oh, it's not going to happen. No, it's going to happen. It's going to happen tomorrow, maybe. Like, it's going to happen. And so what I go is, I don't stay disciplined to an emotion. I stay disciplined to a plan. So when I say design my dark, I know what my day looks like. My son and I, every morning, weekday morning, we get up and 6:25. I'm up at 5:30. He's up at 6:25. We leave the house at 6:30. We take a hike to the top of a hill, see miles around. We do a gratitude. What are you grateful for? It's always new and different. For me, it was like bumblebees, and for him, it was like his socks the other day, right? And it's just, and the more you do it, you have to get more intricate, which is beautiful to see your life like that. We then pray on that. So thank God for these things we're grateful for. We go back down the hill, 48-degree cold plunge for 2 minutes, 10-minute meditation that's guided by YouTube. Boho Beautiful on YouTube. I'm giving her a shout out. I don't know why, but like every day I listen to her. And then I give him a hug for a good like minute, man. Just hold, we breathe. And I say, I love you. He's off for the day. This is his dark work, but it's also mine. But I designed that. I know what it looks like. It sets my day up to lead to the next thing. Because when I go to my calls, I go, I can coach at a high level because I'm doing this dark work. I'm not being a facade and faking it. But I designed that, right? Now I have my design of what I'm doing because I know who I want to become later on. So you design in a way to become the person that you aren't currently. That's the hardest thing too, is because I wasn't a guy that did ice baths every day. I didn't go take walks every day with him, but it's part of who I am. We're 6 months deep. It's beautiful. Once you've designed the dark, the second thing you do is it's called make a dark work declaration. I do this in a really unique way because I think people miss out on the beauty if you do this right. The first thing is I set a window. My design is how far it's going to be. 30, 60, 90. 90 days is like the sweet spot where your brain body connects. You can do some in 21 days, but you haven't soul connected to it yet. At 90 days, like 13 weeks, it's like, this is who I am now. Yeah. Like I've been out doing this is who I am now, bro. And so to get there is the big goal. But the thing is, I want you to, before you start, commit to reading this declaration when you exit. So you're going to write this in a way as if you're reading it.
Like you've already done it.
Like you've already done it. I, Anthony Trucks, just completed my 90-day dark work experience. And this is what I did, right? Because I'm planning it, designed it. I'm declaring I'm going to do it. So when I get to that point, I'm going to read it to the world. I better have done it, right? So I'm writing it. So when I'm in the middle of this thing, I go, I still got to read this thing. I better do this, right? And then it has the other part of it is, and I'm going to do this. I think people like look at diets or these finishing things. Oh, I'm going to get here and I'm rushing. I get to the end. I go, okay, I'm chilling now. I go, no, we didn't do that to stay the same. Kim Kardashian on Drake's new song was like, I didn't go this far to get this far. That was crazy he did that. But the idea is when you get to the back end, I want you to say, I did this. I'm going to do this because at this point, I'm now a different identity. If I've done it right, I have what I call a dominator's identity with the mentality of I've done too much work in the dark to lose in the light.
Number 9, I've done too much work in the dark to lose in the light.
There's this this part of me that, like when I know what I want and I've done the work, like it's mine already. I'm competing for that. You don't get to beat me. Like if I'm a boxer getting into a ring and I know I had a crazy, cool, like amazing camp, I don't care what you thought me. You're not beating me tonight. My camp was crazy, right? You don't get to beat me. So I compete for that career, for the job, for the girl, for the body with conviction now. I compete for it. And you can't have the conviction unless you've paid the price.
That's right.
So compete. And then we're all going to get to these defining moments. My son runs track right now, and he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy, which I like and I don't at the same time. I'm like, nice guys, they don't, not to finish last, but like as a competitive Division I athlete, you got to have dog in you.
You got to be a killer.
You know, it's got to be there. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you play tennis. It's got to be a viciousness to you. But here's the thing. I don't need it 24/7, son. I don't care what, you can walk around and hang out all day, but when you get to that line, you better have that dog come out. I call it draw on your dark. DOYD, draw on your dark, which means in this defining moment, the next 13, 14 seconds, I need you to tuck back and hunker down to all the days that you put in. I call them dark work deposits that you put in your experience to where that person can't beat you. They don't get the right because I've done the work well before this. But a lot of people, they've done the work and like in the moment, they don't want to getting the intensity of it. They don't want to, I don't want to be too aggressive. No, be aggressive. That's why you did that, man. Aggressive isn't always physical and domineering, but you've already done the work for this. Make it worthwhile. So draw in that place. If you walk all the elite athletes, even the business owners, when things are on the line, they don't go in the room and go, we can do this, guys. We got, it's not that. It's like this. Hey, lock in.
Yep.
Let's go to work. Like there's an intensity in their eyes, and they can switch into it. When you watch Tom Brady on the side, you watch Serena Williams doing her thing, like they're in this place. Tiger Woods, they're somewhere else. And they don't care about you. I don't like you. Not that I don't like you as a human. In this moment, you don't exist to me. You don't matter. I'm drawing on the darkness of who I am in a great way. That's how Kobe did the mob mentality. Like he was drawn and channeling the darkest parts of him that he put in when he was going to practice at 4 a.m, getting 2 in when you got 1.
Thank you for listening to another segment of Lessons Learned. I hope you learned as much as I did from our special guest, Anthony Trucks. Hey everyone. First, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. And if you guys haven't heard about my new book, Relationship Bank Account, click the link in the show notes or search the title on Amazon. This book is packed with all my secrets to success in both relationships and life. Make sure to pick up a copy, and if the book helps you on your journey, let us know by leaving a review. I appreciate all of you and can't wait to see you on the next one.